We have just as much stupidity as COVID cases, or in terms of vaccines on terms the type or versions of it. We need to condemn all the fools who joined it and contributed all the conspiracies, so far. It should have been a lesson learned, how local and geopolitics also had a hand in molding all that has happened, since China first released it, albeit it unintentionally. The cover-up did us all more harm than all the harm it could have saved the world from, had China been transparent.
Over half of the world's population has received at least one dose of a vaccine against coronavirus. But there are big differences in vaccination rates across the globe. Less than 10% of people in low-income countries have been vaccinated. Vaccine supply is still a big problem in many countries. But even when vaccines are available, many are concerned about taking them. We've looked into some of the most common concerns.
The reason I'm skeptical or hesitant about taking the COVID-19 vaccine is because of the speed at which the vaccine were produced.
Vaccines against COVID have been produced at record speed, not because they've skipped steps or rushed the research, but because so many scientists and companies from all over the world have shared the work. COVID vaccines have been comprehensively tested for safety, first in trials of hundreds of thousands of people to pick up any common side effects, and then through careful monitoring as the vaccines were given to millions of people in the general population, allowing scientists to spot much rarer reactions. But even now, they are still being studied and monitored. But what about the idea that people who've been vaccinated without any problems might suddenly develop issues months or years down the line? Scientists who study vaccines and the immune system say this is extremely unlikely. We know enough about how the human body works, and we have enough experience from previous vaccines to know that any side effects will emerge within the first 2 months or so. So we've had more than enough time for any possible side effects to show up.
เรื่องวัคซีนนี้ที่ฉีดไปแล้วส่วนใหญ่คนที่ฉีดไปแล้วก็ติดโควิดบางทีก็เสียบางทีก็เจ็บป่วยผมก็แปลกใจเหมือนกันทำไมพอฉีดวัคซีนแล้วต้องมีอาการแบบนี้
No vaccine can give you 100% protection from getting ill. But crucially, if you do develop symptoms, they are likely to be much milder. The vaccines still give high protection against becoming very ill and ending up in hospital, even with newer variants. Although you can still catch the virus, you are less likely to, and if you do catch COVID after being vaccinated, you're also less likely to pass it on, protecting the people around you.
Bir zaman vermek istedim. Yan etkilerini gözlemlemek istedim. Ama korona olduğumda 5 haftalıkta hamile olduğumu öğrendim. Çok endişelendim. Bebeğime bir şey olacağından, herhangi bir hasar vereceğinden.
During pregnancy, it's totally understandable that people want to be extra cautious. But the data so far is reassuring. Millions have been vaccinated, and we haven't seen any worrying side effects related to pregnancy or fertility yet. Large studies have found vaccinated pregnant women are no more likely to experience complications, including miscarriage, than unvaccinated women. There are, however, increased risks to people during pregnancy if they catch COVID. Those who get the virus, particularly in later pregnancy, are more likely to become severely ill or have a premature or stillbirth. Some people are worried that getting vaccinated may affect their future fertility, but there's no evidence or scientific basis for believing this to be the case. We know that there are very rare, serious side effects to the COVID vaccines. The risks of long-term health problems and death are much more common from catching COVID than from the vaccine, even in younger people. That's important to be aware of, so you can balance those risks and benefits when making your decision whether to get vaccinated.
So let's us hope that all of the fools would have been better educated before the next pandemic, which again will come from one of the more polluted countries like India or China.